Good evening, good evening, guys. Hello, how's everyone doing on this fabulously spicy, hot Sunday evening? How's everyone doing this evening? Come on in, guys. How's your day been? How has your week been? Is everyone had a great week last week? I hope you did. I hope you took the time out to enjoy yourself. And then I also hope that you took the time out to get a little educated on what's going on. What's going on in the news cycle and what's going on with the election. We want to make sure that we stay informed and everything. So, welcome to Let's Talk this evening. We're going to have another exciting, in-depth discussion tonight. Hello, Mr. Jackson. I don't see an ability to invite you, so you know you got to be in here with me tonight. So if make sure everything is good on your end, because I got to get you in. And guys, when you all do come on in, would you all just make sure that you share, like, and share the video. Invite a friend, tag a friend, let them know that Juju is on the air and that we're discussing the impact of the Biden-Harris administration on our community this week. So should be a very exciting show tonight. Very informative, I hope. And everything going on right about now. Okay, let's see. Okay, here I go back. I'm sorry, guys. My phone jumped down off of. For some reason, my phone jumped down off my stand. It was just acting crazy. So, Mr. Jackson, I tried to join you. Could you request again? I don't know what's going on. And we ain't trying to be starting nothing tonight. Everything gonna be well, devil. So you can just get yourself on out of this show tonight. Because we ain't gonna be bothered with you tonight. So, hello, Marcine. How are you doing? How's that shoulder doing, boo? Are you doing better? Are you doing better? I hope so. I know you have been in a lot of pain after your surgery, so I hope you're feeling better. I hope you're feeling better. So guys, if you would do me a favor when you come in, would you like and share this video? And like I said, invite a friend, let them know that Let's Talk is on the air and that we are having a very important discussion as usual tonight. And it's something that I want all of us to be able to participate in and discuss and share our opinion. So come on in, like and share the video, and invite a friend. Let me see. Can I see you now, Mr. Jackson? No. Wait a minute. I don't see you. I see Tanya. Hey, Tanya. How you doing, my friend, my classmate? How's everything going? It's been a minute. How's work going? How are the kids and the grandbabies? And how's Dad? I'm so glad you had an opportunity to join us tonight. Hello, Miss Belinda Hicks Smith. Thank you for joining tonight. Guys, if you would do me a favor, when you come in, if you would please like and share the video. Like and share the video. Tag a friend. and let them know that Juju is on the air, and we will be having a very important and informative discussion tonight about the impact. Oh, I just got some V's and C's and everything on here of the Biden administration on the black community. So invite your friends in, tag them, invite them, and let them know they can come on in and have a discussion and join the discussion with us tonight. So I'm just so happy to see everyone. Glad everyone's here. Duchess, I see you, girl. Hello, how are you doing this evening? Thank you for joining. If you don't mind, please, would you like and share the video and just let everybody know that we're here with another exciting discussion, another in-depth discussion about the upcoming presidential election, realizing that we have to stay informed, we have to stay involved, we have to continue to push, we have to make our voices heard, and make our opinion and express our opinions. We're going to do so respectfully, but we can do so openly and loudly. Hey girl, life is amazing. Can't wait for the talk. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that life is amazing with you. Hey, Adrielle Vincent. Hello, Vinny E. How are you guys doing? Mr. Jackson, have you worked yourself out? Have you gone out and come back in? Because I see everybody but you. I see everyone but you tonight. But anyway, it is 7:01, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to get started. Welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk. I am your host, Juju, and I am coming to you live from my living room this evening. Let's Talk is produced by my dear brother, who always has my back, Mr. Jerry L. Jackson, and he's trying to work himself out because I know he has a lot that he wants to contribute to this conversation tonight. There is so much for us to talk about, so we're going to get right to it. But first, let me remind you that this isn't intended to be a news show, but we will try our best to steer clear of gossip and things that are knowingly untrue. It is my sincere hope that everyone finds this to be a safe place where you feel comfortable sharing your opinions. And all that being said, let's talk. As with any election, each side is claiming that their policies will more positively impact the black community than the opposing side. Okay, so we have the advantage this year in that both candidates have basically had 4 years of policy implementation, which we can compare. Of course, Donald Trump was president from 2017 to 2020, and as vice president, Kamala Harris has played an integral part in the current administration. Hello, thank you, Miss Belinda Hicks. Hello, Sharonda Anthony. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so our icebreaker tonight, guys. As an icebreaker, are you personally better or worse off than you were January 19th, 2021? That was the last full day of the Trump administration. Are you personally better or worse off? And is the country as a whole better or worse off since January 19th, 2021? So that is our icebreaker. So are you better or worse off? Hello, Mr. Franz, Stephanie Lee, Lynette, Vincent Mays. How's everyone doing? Althea Thomas, thank you guys for joining. And as I always ask, if you don't mind, would you so kindly please like and share the video when you come in? like and share the video, invite a friend, let them know that Juju is on the air. Okay, so our discussion question: are you better or worse off? And is the country better or worse off during the Trump administration or the Biden administration? So are you better or worse off? And Mr. Jameson, did you? I was last minute. I'm sorry. Did you get the email I sent? I don't know if you did or not, but I did send your email a little bit before the show started. So hello, Jonathan Collins. How are you doing this evening? How are you? Thank you so much for joining. So, guys, our icebreaker question: are you better or worse off than you were during the Trump administration? Are you better or worse off? Michael Friend says he believes the country is better off more stable leadership. Yeah, there was a lot of instability, a lot of waking up, catching your breath in the morning before you turn on the television just so you can see, oh, have we done some crazy overnight? Has something happened overnight? Oh, that I need to concern myself with. What about the rest of you guys? Do you think that you all are better or worse off under the Biden administration than you were under the Trump administration? Do you think things are better or worse? Do you think they are better or worse? So just let us know. Political Political anxiety is better. Okay, Sharonda says she thinks that the political anxiety is better, less anxiety than it was under the Trump administration, in the Biden administration. I have to agree with me. Uh, Jonathan said, I'm doing well. My well being is unchanged from administration to administration. Okay, so you saying personally you have not been affected in any way. Um, Tanya says that I don't think I'm better, but I'm not worse either. I think the country is still suffering. We suffer no matter who leads. I thought that the wall was ridiculous. However, I now see people on the other side of the wall have really taken over. Okay, so you don't think that there is no difference, Tanya? Okay, and Jonathan says he doesn't think that there's any difference, but leadership has been more stable than that crazy man. Okay, so you think that we are more stable. Anybody else? Anybody else? Have want to respond to that question. Okay. All right then. So tonight we want to look at some of the Biden Harris policies and how they have impacted the Black community. However, let us briefly visit Donald Trump's recent appearance before we um, get into the Biden Harris administration. Let us, we like to deal with things that are in the news. And so we know that Donald Trump had a recent appearance on the National Association of Black Journalists, their conference. And he implied in his interview that Kamala Harris has not always identified as Black, that is something that has recently come about. And he said prior to her getting into politics, she identified as Indian and not Black. So my question for you guys is, does the race of Kamala Harris have an impact on your vote? If she didn't identify as a Black woman, would you be more or less inclined to vote for her? that is an attack that the Republicans are making against Kamala Harris now that she is just all of a sudden just turned black in latter years since she has started running for political office. So does her race, it does it impact your vote? If she didn't identify as a black woman, would you be more or less likely to vote for her, more or less likely inclined to vote for her? Hello, Jeanette Smith. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us this evening. So, guys, does Kamala Harris's race play a part in your vote? Hello, Mr. Jackson. How are you doing?
Hey, good evening, Julia. How are you? I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. I think we have a comment from Mr. Jonathan Collins. Do you see his comment, Mr. Jackson? If not, I'll read it.
No, I do.
Um, okay. Jonathan, I would agree. I would say she is now acknowledging her black like never before. I think it's a logical angle. Okay, so you say you think it's a logical angle, and what do you mean by that, Jonathan?
And while you are um, waiting for him to respond,
Mhm.
uh, so the comment was that she's more so now than prior.
He says that she is acknowledging her black like
Okay.
never before.
Well, she has always been black. She went to a traditionally um, historically black university. She pledged a historically black sorority. And everybody that's surrounding her knows that she's been a black woman. Her father's Jamaican, mother is Indian. So, with just 1 ounce of blood, you are considered black. So I don't know where that conspiracy theory came up. I don't know. I still say today, when Trump appeared at the National Association of Black Journalists, that was his attack to his base. He's going to continue to throw out the birtherism conspiracy as he did with President Obama, and he's trying to do it with Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, and it has backfired. There is
Okay.
no reason where she now has to be black because he wants to tout that to say she's trying to court the African American vote. And the polls have recently shown that 82% of the African American people are supporting her. And I think it has 8%. That was just the recent polls that were
Okay.
today.
So, so I guess my question was, and Michael France said he agrees with Jerry. And my question, and Michael France also says how she identifies does not matter to me.
Right.
And that was, I guess, my question. Does it matter? That's my thing, because it didn't matter to me, so I don't know why it would be even put out there as an issue, because it doesn't matter. What are her policies? What is her character like? What has she done? What does she plan to do as far as issues that concern me and those around me? Um, um, and let's see. Hello, Miss Cassandra Clifton. How are you doing? I think it makes sense to stir up the demographic. Wait a minute. This is Jonathan Collin. I think it makes sense to stir up the demographic as they have not been as engaged prior to her being named the nominee. I understand that she has been affiliated with and part of the Black community. She hasn't always worn it on her sleeve, though. I'm proud that she is representing us. I don't know Kamala Harris on a personal basis. I don't know what she was doing before she came into the political arena. So I can't say how black she was, other than she did go to a HBCU and she did pledge a black sorority. So,
Right.
um,
May I
uh,
interrupt and interject for just a moment?
yes, sir.
Okay. Um, Her blackness has nothing to do with her qualifications, how she is outwardly qualified, overtly qualified for the position. So the adversary can throw all types of darts and um, untruths and lies to try to avert from the factual evidence that she's very qualified. I mean,
Okay.
it went so far to even question her ability to pass the bar exam. That was an outright lie.
Yeah,
So I
yeah, yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
it's just a ploy of the other side to push an agenda, but it's really backfiring because it's really got the people
Okay.
fired and
And,
excited. So her race
okay.
has nothing to do with it. Your
Okay. And we had a couple of comments, Mr. Jackson, if you wanted to go ahead and get those. Hi.
um, Lynette Benson May says, what matters is are the policies, period.
Right.
And Tanya said, it's not about blackness. It is not. And, um, I want to sort of piggyback on Tanya's point. Black people have always supported people that were policy driven to impact and affect the Black race. We've never had an opportunity to support Black people that's running for the highest office in the land until we had President Obama. And then from there came Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. So we've never had an opportunity to support Black people, but the fact of the matter that she's Black should not matter. It should all
Okay.
go back to policies.
Okay. Okay.
And
All righty. And so I think the consensus is that the race does not matter. And so I'm assuming it would not impact anyone's vote. So let's look at some of the Biden Harris policies and accomplishments. Going back to current affairs, I hope you all saw last week where the administration negotiated a deal that involved multiple countries, which led to 16 political prisoners, which were being held in Russian prisons, being released. It led to their release. Of the 16 prisoners, 4 were American. And like I said, this was a multi-country, multiple countries involved. A lot of different prisoners were from different nations were being held in Russian prison. And most of them as political prisoners, not having committed any crimes. But anyway, it is my understanding that Vice President Kamala Harris played a very important role in the negotiations. She had multiple one-on-one meetings with the German chancellor, and Germany was very integral in getting this release, this trade, this deal completed. This is something that the administration had been working on for years, and we know that Germany had the key prisoner that Russia wanted, and with negotiations with Kamala Harris and the German chancellor, multiple negotiations, as well as President Biden. So we don't want to say that he was not in negotiations, because he was, up to, they said, the very moment before he said he was going to withdraw from the race. He was, up to that very moment, negotiating, and still beyond that, but he had kind of sealed the deal right before he decided to withdraw from the race. So I think that that speaks volumes about the man that he is. But also, like I said, her capabilities and her abilities and her qualifications, and her ability to lead the country has been demonstrated in other ways, but this is a very important demonstration in that fact that some of these prisoners had been held captive, American prisoners, over 6 years. So that is just something that I hope you guys um, have taken note of. And these are things that we need to know when uh, when people say, what is her qualifications? What has she done? She's done nothing as the vice president. These are things that we need to know and understand, that she has been very active and involved in all of the policies and accomplishments of the Biden administration. But anyway, so that's just one thing. But let's look at some of the other accomplishments. We know that the CARES Act of 2021, and we want us to understand that that is the CARES Act that Biden Harris did. That is what gave each American $1,400. That was not a Trump initiative, as many people seem to think. And also, it provided a child tax credit of $300 per month per child to qualified families. And the provisions of the CARES Act cut the child poverty rate in the Black community in half. So that is one thing that we have to remember, because sometimes that is not attributed to Biden. So we have to remember that that is a Biden Harris initiative. Under the Biden Harris administration, over 3 million jobs have been created for Black workers. And the current administration achieved the lowest Black unemployment rate in the history of the country. And we have to remind ourselves of that truth. That's a fact. That's not an alternative fact, because sometimes when Trump is speaking, he'll say that Blacks had the lowest unemployment under his administration. That is actually not the case. It has hit the lowest point under the Biden Harris administration. Also, under the administration, over 5 million individuals have had their student loans forgiven, and this relieved over $70 billion in debt. So student loans, and this really impacted Blacks as well, student loan debt, because we often have to get more loans than our Caucasian counterparts to go to school to get an education. And if you guys know anything about the cost of college nowadays, it is skyrocketing. So 5 million individuals have had their student loans forgiven, and that's over $70 billion in debt relief for individuals in the country. And of course, it was Biden's hope that he could relieve more student loan debt, and he tried to do that with a presidential, because Congress wouldn't pass it. He tried to do it himself, but the Supreme Court, of course, declared that unconstitutional. Yes, Mr. Jackson.
I was just agreeing with you. We also, and I'm sure you're going to make a point, the big issue that we're hearing from the Republicans is that Madam President, Vice President, was the border czar, and she hasn't done anything about it. Well, there was a bipartisan bill that had gone to the legislature to be voted on, and it had the approval of, it was a bipartisan bill. And the person that is currently running for the presidential candidate on the Republican side called many of his people and told them to vote against it. So that's the reason why we have not had border control, is because he controlled those people in the party and they voted against it. So I just wanted to make sure that we were clear about that. We need to understand the facts
Yeah,
and not just.
yeah, and that is true that they did have a bipartisan bill that they had been working on, and the senators, the Senate in the Senate, you had a bipartisan group that was working on it, and they had agreed it was and in this bill, Democrats had made a lot of concessions. They had basically given the Republicans almost everything that they wanted. So it was the bill that they wanted. But yes, it is indicated that Trump told the people in the House, don't vote yes for this. This is something I can run on. The border is something I can run on. And we don't want to give Joe Biden a win. So on that. And so that did occur with that particular situation. Also, we often hear Donald Trump talk about what he has done for HBCUs, and he did give $9 million, 90, let me put the zero on that, $90 million for HBCUs. It was appropriated under his administration. There is some question whether or not he wanted it or not, because some say he didn't want it. He had zeroed it out of his budget, but it was appropriated under his administration. But we have to understand that under the Biden-Harris administration, HBCUs have received over 16 billion with a B, $16 billion in federal funding. So when he says he has done more for HBCUs, he said they were failing and they didn't have any funding, and nobody ever said that. Of course, $90 million is a significant amount of money to have, but nobody said that the institutions was failing and they were all going to go under if he didn't come save them. But like I said, when he says he has done more for them, that's not true again. And we just want to deal in facts, guys. These are facts. I'm not going to present anything to you knowingly that it's not true. I'm dealing in facts. Okay. And then the administration also passed the most significant gun safety legislation in decades. And this was a bipartisan passing of legislation, which is not done when it comes to gun control. Bipartisan is not done. And so the ability for the administration to get a bipartisan gun safety bill passed, that was a really, really major accomplishment. And then we also want to note that the administration has appointed the most ever Black judges to the federal bench, including Ketanji Brown Jackson. She was the first Black, she of course is the first Black female ever appointed to the Supreme Court. And then also the administration is the most diverse, and this includes the Obama-Biden administration. This is the most diverse administration in history. Okay, so whose policies, let me ask this question, first question, whose policies do you think would have the most positive impact on the Black community? Do you think the policies under a Harris administration or a Trump administration would most positively impact the Black community?
Julia, we have a comment that I want
Okay,
from Lynette
okay.
Benson May. She says, do you want him back in office or not? Do you want a homophobic, rapist, racist, sexist, lying, cheating, and no morals person to be our dear leader or not. If not, we need to vote for anybody but him. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. And I wanted to make sure that we mention the reparation for the farmers, for the Black farmers, where just recently they have been awarded. I don't want to get the numbers incorrect, but it's in the billions of dollars where they're going to be awarded, and the Black farmers are going to get paid for reparations. That was just announced this weekend. I, I was intending to get the numbers, but I will get the numbers and have them posted.
Okay.
So, to your point, to Ardene's question is, um, rephrase your question
I,
so that we can get
I,
some.
I said, whose policies do you think would most positively impact the Black community? A Harris administration or a Trump administration? Which administration do you think would be best for our communities?
I'm waiting for some responses.
Okay. And I can only look at what history says, and then of course we can look at also the Project 2025 plan for the first 180 days of a Republican administration. And so for me, um, I would think that the Harris administration would best impact our country, honestly.
Okay.
But definitely the Black community, as we have seen all of the things, all of the initiatives, and it kind of bothers me personally when Donald Trump is allowed. Now, I know when he goes to his rallies, he can say whatever he wants to say. But when he is interviewed, people are interviewing him, and he's allowed to say how much more he did for the Black community. And I'm the best president for the Black community since Lincoln. And then they want to go back to Johnson and all this. No, you can go to the current president that we have right now, because the facts are the facts. And of course, the fact is that Biden Harris administration has been very helpful to the Black community. And I know people look and say, that things are not good. Inflation is high. It is high. And they look at, and I think the inflation is really the part that is really concerning to people, because as far as jobs are concerned, they are Biden has created more jobs in his Biden Harris has created more jobs in their administration than the last three presidents combined. So we know that the jobs are there. We know that the wages have increased. They have pushed for more wages, and since COVID, when we came out of COVID, it was a demand. Okay, you may not raise the minimum wage, but we're not going to work for $7.25 anymore. And I think those are the $7.25 jobs. I think those are what Trump referred to as the Black jobs that Hispanics are taking. I really do. But when asked what the Black jobs are, he said anybody who's working. So I don't know what that means. But anyway, so most
We,
people I see, Mr. Jackson, have said that the Harris administration would be better. We have comments, Mr. Jackson. Go ahead.
Yes, yes, we do. Cassandra Clifton says Harris without a doubt. Miss Vincent May says, as I stated, anybody but Trump. Belinda Hicks Smith says all in with Harris. Althea Thomas, Harris, of course. Miss Vincent Mays says this man has not apologized to 5 young black men who he wanted executed, and we are discussing whose policies are the best. Cassandra Clifton says that inflation has been intentionally created by the GOP. And I want to sort of piggyback off of Cassandra Clifton's point. She's exactly
Okay.
right because when you think about the inflation, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris is in one of her directives is she's going to fight the gouging, the price gouging of these huge companies. You know, you think about the grocery stores, the gas, the pharmaceutical companies. They're all making gazillions of dollars in profit, but yet and still you can't go in and there's some pharmaceutical medications that are $400,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
And who in their right mind can afford $400? But if you know the system, you go and get a voucher so you can get it for $10. But she is really um, incredibly avid about the stores and the manufacturers and the organizations gouging the public because the GOP wants it to be something that they can say, well, inflation is affecting us. But where do black people have to go all the time? The grocery store, pharmacy, the gas. Everybody has to do that. But, we don't have the luxury in all of our communities where we have a nice grocery store or we have a nice national gas station or, we go to these pharmacies and it's just outlandish pricing. And I've been affected by that. I know when I first got out of the hospital last year, and my doctor prescribed one of the most expensive blood thinners out there. And when I went to the pharmacy, it was $432. I said, "Are you kidding me?" So immediately I called my doctor and said, "Hey, I'm not paying $432. We need to get another medication." So he said, "Well, I can get you a voucher. I'll send it over." And
Mhm.
sent it over, and now I'm only paying $10. So
Well, that is great, Mr. Jackson, because that was one thing I did not mention, the $35 cap on insulin,
yeah,
because there are a lot of diabetics,
yeah,
and most of them are for type 2.
yes,
You have a majority of African Americans, Black people, that are having to purchase this medicines, and this is the cap is for seniors at this point, but they want to expand it for everybody, because medications can be very expensive. I know, and you said you had a prescription for $400. I know Jordan went to the doctor, and Althea can vouch for this. They gave her a prescription. The medication was $1,000.
I believe
$1,000 for one prescription. And the pharmacist like, no, we're gonna pull that prescription back. We're gonna see if we can find something else. But it was $1,000. And of course, we gonna do what we have to do to make sure our baby gets what she needs. But the pharmacy did pull that prescription back. Um, but those costs are so. Cassandra, you were saying that you think that the inflation is intentional, and I, in some cases, do think that there is some inflation that is intentional, that there are some businesses, some big businesses that would benefit from tax cuts and other proposals. Um, some of the other proposals, like the drilling, the oil companies, they will benefit from all of the drilling and opening up that in the United States, and then some of the others, the tax cuts, and some of them, the relief of OSHA regulations and EPA regulations, and all these things that the Trump um, policies would bring them. So there probably is some measure of intentional inflation of prices. It's just amazing the games people play with people's well-beings, and but that, I guess, that is life. Um, what issues are most important to you as an individual? What issues are most important to you, and which candidates' policies do you think would better serve you on those issues? What's your most important issue? And
While we're waiting, we have a comment from Cassandra Clifton. She says it's intended to make the Biden administration look bad, just the same as the GOP themselves voted down Border Patrol, but blame it on Kamala Harris. And then Althea said, yes, she did have $1,000 prescription.
Mhm.
I,
Hello, Miss Lincoln. I
so,
so enjoyed your seminar yesterday. Just throwing that out
so
there.
while
Um,
we're answer to your question, Julia, I have a problem with Project 25 where giving immunity to the police officers.
okay.
Even whenever there is whatever they do, they're immune from conviction, which means our black young men from 25 to 40 are going to be in harm's way
Okay.
because the
Okay.
police will be able to do whatever they want, and the police will not have to be held accountable. And that question was
Mhm.
posed to him at the National Association of Black Journalists, and he danced all around it. And
Okay.
um, so that's one of my biggest concerns, is because I am very concerned about the young black men and how that's going to affect our black men.
And,
It's going to continue
yeah.
to
And the absolute immunity, but I think that does not apply to prosecutions. That applies to civil immunity. So we want to make sure we get the facts right on here. I don't want misfacts.
he
Uh,
made a statement on the NABJ and he said total immunity.
what,
So
yeah, yeah, but what is in Project 2025, it
that
is not. It's for
right
civil cases. Absolute immunity. You couldn't sue any person for anything that they may, any officer for anything he may do to you in the line of duty. What else? What issues are most important to you? Me, being in the social service arena, social programs are most important to me. Head Start, the fact that they want to, um, get rid of Head Start. You know how dear Head Start is to me, Mr. Jackson. Um,
me.
because my mom was a Head Start teacher for many years,
Yeah.
and that wasn't just, and still isn't just, where kids, low income kids, can get a foundation on education, but they did so much more and still do so much more for families, like offering GED classes to parents that don't have high school diploma, helping them with utilities, helping them with rent, helping them get on their feet. teaching them nutritional things. What is nutritional? What is healthy for your kids? It's so much more, and so many wraparound services that are involved in Head Start. And of course, I'm all for the safety nets that these public assistance programs offer to those who may fall on hard times, and wanting to cut those, wanting to cut Social Security, wanting to cut Medicaid, wanting to cut Medicare. Those things are most important to me because, I'm the social worker and I'm always concerned about the least of these. And so that is most concerning to me. What about you guys?
Uh,
I see Althea said something about Black women, and you asked her to tell them more about Black women.
and I think I know what she's alluding to is abortion rights and women being able to um, determine how they want to treat their own body. And I'm just waiting for her to provide a comment.
Okay.
Um, Also, I am really concerned about the LGBTQ rights.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that everybody has a right to live, love, and be themselves regardless. And there is um, legislation that will protect the LGBTQ Americans, in particular the Equality Act. I think that is so critically important to us because in 2020, um, the Biden administration embraced the LGBT communication and the LGBTQ community, and he's the first president to do so. So um,
Okay. All
it's
right.
just it's really critical. Then Cassandra says work week will become a 160 hours work month. This means your boss can ask you to work 50 and 60 hours weeks and you get no overtime. You won't get overtime until you have exceeded the 160 hours in a monthly basis.
Okay. Lynette.
Lynette, her most important issue is keeping our democracy. I do not want a king.
And I agree with you, Lynn, on that. That democracy issue is a very important, and that should be first and foremost, I guess, in all of our minds. Because if you don't have a democracy, then none of this other stuff even matters. Because a person can do whatever really they want to do, if they're given the kind of power that is proposed and seem like to me is desired by Trump and proposed in the Project 2025 manifesto or mandate, whatever it is. But anyway, the last question that I have for us tonight is, it has been said by many that the Democratic Party panders to the Black community and their policies hurt and not help the Black community. Do you think Democratic policies are harmful to the Black community? And Mr. Jackson, wait a minute. You said that the Biden doesn't have enough congressional votes to codify Roe, but in the months since he's taken the steps to protect access to reproductive health care, including calling the Supreme Court to stop calling on the Supreme Court to stop. Oh, that's a lot of. Oh, you got a manifesto on there.
Well,
What is all that you got on that comment, Mr. Jackson? I can't read all that.
well, it's just basically talking about the women's rights, health, reproductive health, and just read it. It's factual. And basically, we're working to try to codify. I mean, Roe versus Wade, of course, that was detrimental. And I was only putting that in because of Althea's comment when she said
Okay.
about women, and I thought maybe that would.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And so what do you think about the idea that the Democratic Party panders to um black community, placates us at election and then don't do anything for the community?
well,
What is your thought on that, guys?
well, can I say that um, local elections are very important?
They
Okay.
are.
And most of the local elections are won by the Reds. So all of your local laws are passed in conjunction with the policies of the Republican Party. And so it's hard for me to say that they are pandering or placating us or what have you, because when it's time for elections, we always vote on the left side, but the right always wins, and they get all of their policies intact at the local level, from the local judges. When you think about why there's such a huge influx of us in prison, it starts at the local level. And people fail to realize is the president doesn't make the policies. You've got three branches of government, and you have to understand the branches of the government. And um, at a local level, see, we get so excited about the presidential election, and we don't think about the local elections when we're voting in these senators, specifically Tommy Tuberville, who has just been an absolute embarrassment, has not no clue about civic government.
Mhm.
But I just feel very strongly about the local. Vinnie Lewis says
Mhm.
people have to realize that if they want policies to go through, they have to do more than vote for the president. They have to vote in the midterms. Amen and hallelujah to
And I
that.
think that is what you were saying as well, Mr. Jackson, that we have to be totally engaged, and can't just say everything that's going on in our communities are a result of the president. Local policies have a far greater impact on uh, us locally in our personal lives. Local elections have a far greater impact on our personal lives. So we have to be fully engaged and can't do it every now and then. And we can't just do it when we're excited about a particular candidate. And that was my thing when Joe Biden was at the head of the ticket. We can't just say, I'm going to sit this out because both of these people are old and I'm not excited. And that is one thing that they say about Democrats. They vote on emotion. They have to fall in love. What they say, Republicans fall in line, and Democrats want to fall in love. And so you have to look at the policies, and that is one thing that we have to do, and we have to make sure that those around us do. We got to get educated about the policies and how they really impact us, and what is this individual's stance for real, and look at their history, not just the stuff that they say, because I can make my mouth say anything. My mom always told me a lie don't care who tell it, so I can say anything. What is your look at their record, and they have a record somewhere. They've done something, even if they're just starting out. You have to look at who they associate, who they're backed by, who is endorsing them, who's supporting them, who's financing them. And see how their ideas and their policies and their thought process aligns with yours and how it's going to impact your life. on a personal level. Because like Mr. Jackson said, we have to vote on all levels all the time. Have to go to the poll every time. If you know, if you're the line should be out the door at the polling station every time. I remember in 2008 when Barack Obama was first running for president. Oh, I couldn't get into the polling space, and that's the only time I've ever been there that it's been like that. But it should be that way every time, um, because that's the only way we really affect change in our community. And the one thing about it is politicians depend on us not voting.
They,
They depend on us not voting. And so when we don't vote, we give them just what they want. Hello, Pamela Harris and Vanessa Collier Burton. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. But anyway, this has been, of course, a lovely discussion, and we will continue it um, uh, leading all the way up to the election. We're going to continue to talk about it. So stay informed, stay involved, make a plan to vote, and get out there and do that. And encourage someone else to vote. They're talking about voter registration, how it has increased so much since Kamala Harris has entered the race. And of course, it's young people are registering to vote, which is awesome. But we have to get them out there voting, actually voting, not just registering, because notoriously they don't vote. And there are more Gen Zs and millennials now than there are baby boomers and Gen X's. So we got to get those those millennials and Gen Zs out there voting. What was Edgar's comment, Mr. Jackson, and then you can give us our announcements.
and okay, the fact that we have people saying that they are going to sit this one out is extremely troubling. This is real life. This election is between the continuation of our democracy or going backwards towards a monarchy. Once the democracy is gone, it's gone. And um, I totally agree with you, Dr. Benson, because we need to become educated. And I, I just continue to read and listen at some of the comments from some of the people, and I'm just flabbergasted at what they're saying. I'm just appalled because our democracy is on the line. And what I mean by that is if that administration is allowed to get into the White House, it's going to be, I don't even like to use the word, it's going to be a bad situation. And I'm not trying to put fear out there
That's
or
right.
scare anyone, but it's the fact. Because if you read and study the policies of what the the Republicans versus the Democrats are saying, the Democrats are all about inclusion, democracy. The Republicans want to create a dictatorship. He said it out loud, told the Christians, if you vote, you won't have to worry about voting again. And then he tried to backpedal and try to explain what that meant. We need to understand what Christian nationalism is.
Mhm.
So really need to understand Project 2025. And Julia, I am having issues over here pulling up your
Okay,
email.
that's fine. I got the announcements. That's fine, Mr. Jackson. But you are so correct, and we're gonna dissect Project 2025 on here. Probably the month of September, we'll spend most of our time dissecting it, and we won't skip all over the place. We're gonna go section by section to make sure that people are understanding what it is and what it means, because there are really some diabolical things in that. And you guys, like Mr. Jackson told you last week, I put out tidbits, try to do it on a daily basis. Um, and so y'all look at my Facebook page. We'll probably talk about eugenics next well, not next week, because next week we have my baby. And she's gonna talk about the benefits of herbs. But when we come in the third week of August, we're gonna talk about eugenics and what that is and how that relates to Project 2025.
So, Julie,
And
let
yes,
me
sir.
interrupt you. Just so that our audience is aware, at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Monday at the Readout, Joy Reid will be talking about Project 2025. That's every night that she comes on, she expounds on it. If Madam Vice President chooses her vice presidential candidate, that's probably going to be the headline news, but I'm sure she'll continue to talk about Project 2025. If you're not aware, Joy Reid appears Monday through Friday on MSNBC at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern, which is 6 o'clock p.m. Central. Mark your calendars, tune in. It's very, very educational. And when Juju posts something on her page, I am highly recommending and suggesting that you share it on your social media platform. It is so important that we start flooding our platforms with this correct information because so many of us don't read. All we do is pay attention to TikTok, and TikTok is one sided. Everybody that comes on TikTok is going to give you information that's for the benefit of their candidate. And it's working for Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, but it's also working for Trump. So we want to make sure that we're putting out factual
Mhm,
information. And
mhm,
when not, I can appreciate how Julia debunked what I said. I wasn't very clear because truthfully, it is civil, but I was alluding to what he said at
mhm,
NABJ. Thank you
mhm,
for
mhm. Yeah,
because
and and
you don't
and that's the
information.
thing, Mr. Jackson. We want to not knowingly, we want to put out facts, and that's what I do. I put out facts. You take them, you do what you want to do with them, but they're out there, so you can't say I didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't want to know. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. Next week we're going to have the our special guest, Miss Adriel Vincent. That's my baby, Genia Jerry. And she's going to be talking to us about the impact of various herbs on our body. Of course, our first 15 minutes will be dedicated to Project 2025. And so we probably will talk about the eugenics situation next week because our first 15 minutes will be dedicated to Project 2025. Then the other 45 minutes, we're going to talk about herbs and their impact on your body, what different herbs will help you with different ailments. And because, when we were younger, we didn't go to the doctor. Our moms went to their little medicine chest. They had their own little medicine. They didn't have doctor medicine. So we're going to look at that. And we will have a special Let's Talk debate watch party. And the next debate is scheduled for September 10th. Vice President Harris says she'll be there, but we don't know if she'll have anyone to debate, but we'll be there. So she'll be there, we'll be there, and hopefully Trump will be there so we can have a debate. But whenever they have their debate, we're going to have a watch party. So remember that, and we'll keep you updated if dates change. And then don't forget Divinely Guided Podcast every Monday around 6 o'clock p.m. That does drop, and so make sure that you check out Duchess Thomas and Adriel Vincent, Divinely Guided. Subscribe to my Juju Dollhouse YouTube channel. Have some good little tidbits on there. And also, if you missed shows or you just want to go back and see one, it's on the YouTube channel. So you can send people over there who wants to know what is Let's Talk all about. Send them to my YouTube channel, Juju's Dollhouse, and let them check it out for themselves. And of course, By Juju For You is a proud sponsor of Hold Up the Light, Hold Up the Light nonprofit organization. And then my 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 tagline, my hashtag is, if being left is wrong, I don't want to be right. Okay, that is my election hashtag. If being left is wrong, I don't want to be right. And of course, I am walking by faith, inspiring hope, and showing love all along the way. Mr. Jackson, did you have anything else?
No, I did not. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you that constantly join us. We appreciate it. And I too, if I am, I love your quote. I'm not going to even butcher it, but it's been wonderful. Please get educated, understand the policies, as we cannot tell you who to vote for, but I can tell you who I am going to vote for. But I'm also going to be listening for both sides. I don't agree with everything the Democrats say. I don't agree with everything the Republicans say. But back to Lynette Vincent Mays, she said it's not about anything but saving our democracy and anybody but Trump. And we clearly have the most qualified candidate in Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week as Jenya, as her grandmother so affectionately called her, Adriel Vincent, is going to come in and talk to us about wonderful herbs. I cannot wait because I'm interested in that. That's something my doctor was telling me about. So I'm very interested to hear that. So thank you all for joining us. And thank you, Juju, for doing a great job and always being so prepared.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jackson. I could not do it without you. And I definitely could not do it without you guys. Thank you guys for joining us each and every Sunday night. I know you could be doing something else on your Sunday night. So we appreciate you joining us. You could be watching the Olympics. Joyce would probably, Duchess would probably tipped out on me. She probably back at the Olympics now. But anyway, um, please do me a favor, like and share the video. Starlet, you coming in at what time of the night? At midnight. You decide you come join the show. Okay, you just go watch the replay. But anyway, please like and share the video. We want to get our viewership up. So I appreciate so much all of those that have done it. Mr. Andrew Page, I don't know if I said good evening to you and thank you for joining. And if I did not call your name, guys, thank you. I appreciate everyone who has taken time out to join us. But anyway, I am Juju. I am that mountain moving giant slayer. And until next time, I wish all of you guys much love and many blessings. Have a great night. Love you.